Congratulations, you finished writing your ebook and you're ready to publish it, but you have no idea how much you should sell it for. Honestly, if you price it too low, people will think it's cheap. If you price it too high, people will think it's too expensive and they will buy it. But what if there was a sweet spot, a place where your price point said high quality and value, but it was still affordable? Most people price their ebook too low because they don't believe in themselves enough to charge what they're worth. What if you sold 100 copies of your ebook, but you only made $30? That's the result of a price problem, and it's a real thing. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what you need to do to price your first ebook so that it's profitable for you and sellable to your buyer. In 2013, when I started my publishing business, selling ebooks on Amazon for 99 cents was the hot new thing. Everybody was doing it. I started selling my ebook for 99 cents too, but after a couple of months, I realized there were 4 things that I should not be doing and 4 things that I needed to know about pricing ebooks. You may disagree with me, but size doesn't matter when it comes to ebooks. I bought this book several years ago, and it immediately changed my perspective on how quickly I could get outcomes and I could get results. But after reading this book, I realized something even more important. I realized that size doesn't matter. This book is only about 30 pages and it sells for about $15 on Amazon. But the author could easily get $45 or $50 if he wanted to take it off of Amazon, take it out of the Amazon marketplace and start selling it himself. I've seen books and ebooks that are 50 pages or more sell for $7.99 or $8.99. The amount of pages in your ebook should not define your price point. You don't want to fill your ebook up with a bunch of pages. Think of it this way. Your ebook is a solution to a problem. So if you can present that solution in 5 pages, 10 pages, 30 pages, then do that. It really doesn't matter. All you want to do is just take your solution and give it to your reader in as few pages as possible. When you start to fill your book up with fluff and information that's not needed and stories just to get to a specific page count, or because you think that the more pages that you have in your ebook, the more valuable it'll be. When you do that, your reader will immediately know what you're doing and they'll see you as less credible and they won't trust you. And at that point, you won't be able to use them as, or not use them, but you won't be able to make them a repeat customer because you would have lost their trust and their credibility with them. Selling my ebook for 99 cents taught me that size doesn't matter when it comes to setting a price for your ebook. But it also taught me something very important about what I needed to do when it came to pricing my ebook. Another thing that I discovered that will determine how you shape the price for your ebook is by looking at your competition. Do some research on some other entrepreneurs that are in your niche and see what they're selling their ebooks for. But there is one caveat to this strategy. Going back to selling my ebook for 99 cents, that was a strategy that a lot of authors were using at the time. And once again, like I said, I started selling mine for 99 cents. And what I did was I researched other authors that were in my niche or that I deemed as being my competitors. And they had a much larger audience. They had been out there for longer and they had other best-selling books. So I figured they got a large audience. They're successful. This is a strategy they're using. So guess what? I'll do the same thing. The issue and the thing that I didn't understand at the time was they had a much bigger audience than me. They had been out there longer than me. They had more best-selling books out there than me. And what that did was that gave them, they wasn't trying to use the 99 cent strategy the way I was. For them, selling their ebook for 99 cents wasn't to make money. They didn't care about taking a loss. They were selling their ebooks for 99 cents so that they could get leads because they wanted to sell a higher price item on the back end. So they were using their ebook as like a lead magnet to get people's email addresses and contact information so that they could sell them something later on. I didn't realize that. So I'm sitting here selling my ebook for 99 cents and I'm not making any money. And that was a really dumb idea. I would have had to sell thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of ebooks to make any money. So what you want to do is you want to compare what I call apples to apples. If you want to do research and look at price points of other entrepreneurs in your niche, then look at someone who is kind of equivalent to your size. You don't want somebody just starting out just like you. Look for somebody who's maybe a couple of stages ahead of you, and look at what their strategy is and look at what their price point is, and research a couple of these, and you'll get kind of an average, and then that'll give you an idea, a good sweet spot for you to offer your ebook at a similar price. And you don't want to make my mistake. And speaking of mistakes, you can make a lot of them when you're writing your first ebook because it's not easy. Regardless of all the nonsense you hear on the internet about how easy it is and how you can do it in 5 minutes. If you need help to get started, or you've already started your ebook, but you need help getting finished, click on the link in the description below and get the help you need and get your ebook finished and published. Okay, so that was some wisdom on determining the price point of your ebook by researching others in your niche. But researching others in your niche is useless if you don't understand the value of the solution that you provide. And that's what we'll talk about next. Back in 2020, I wrote a book about finding purpose in your life. And I started doing speaking engagements locally because I really wanted to help people get from under the burden of the belief that they had to live their life for a purpose. Back in 2020, I wrote a book about finding your purpose because I wanted to help people get from under the burden of believing that they had to live their life for a purpose. So I was going out doing speaking engagements locally, and I would talk about my book. And after each speech, I would hang around and I would talk to some of the audience members, and I would give away copies of my book. And over a period of time, some people would come to hear me speak that had already read the book, and they would tell me about how the book had transformed their life and how they had found it so incredible and amazing, and they were telling other people about it. And I felt so humbled by that. I was really amazed that something that I had written had such an impact on people. Now, I believe I was selling the book at the time for about $13.99 on Amazon, but based on what I was hearing from the audience, I could have sold that book for $40, $50, because the truth is you really can't put a price on transformation. When you're doing something that's impactful, it's not about information, it's about transformation. So if you've done something that's transformed your life, or you've done something that's transformed the life of someone else, you can't put a price on that. So asking $40, $50 for an ebook, or maybe $100 or $500 for a course, that's not crazy because you're providing a real transformation. So let's say, for example, you're a salesperson at your company and you're the top salesperson and you've been the top salesperson for about 3 to 5 years. You have a strategy, a method for closing deals. And you've been doing that consistently for, like I said, several years. So you come up with the idea that you're going to take that strategy and that method and you're going to offer it to the marketplace. You're going to sell it. And your strategy closes deals that can double people's income. It can take them from 50,000 to 100,000, or maybe from 100,000 to 200,000. You're doubling, tripling, maybe even quadrupling their income. So would it be too much to ask that you're selling that ebook for maybe $97, or you're selling the course for $500 or $1,000 or $5,000? You have to look at the transformation that you're providing. The bigger the solution, the more you can charge for it. Another way to say that is the more expensive the problem, the more you can charge for the solution. Okay, so you understand that premium pricing works better than low pricing, but how do you justify that premium pricing to your buyer? But more importantly, how do you justify that premium pricing to yourself? This is the most important tip, and that's what we'll talk about next. In my opinion, the easiest thing to do is to believe in someone else. And the most difficult thing to do is to believe in yourself, especially when 99% of what you see and hear is designed to ensure that you don't believe in yourself, but you believe in someone else. In all my years of advising and coaching, This is by far one of the biggest reasons why most entrepreneurs don't make a profit and they end up quitting because they're not making any money. I know this firsthand because remember, I was selling my ebook for 99 cents. All the other tips that I talked about earlier hinge or are dependent on this tip that you believe that what you have is valuable and that it's transformative. And you're going to have to be able to stand on that and be firm in that belief when you start to doubt yourself or you start to hear critics. And for me, it all starts with knowing that what I'm offering has been proven to work. It's either worked for me multiple times or I've offered it to other people and gotten the results for other people. That gives me the confidence and the knowing that what I'm offering is valuable and high quality. And second, listen to those that you've worked with before that have given you comments or praises or thanks or testimonials. Use those and lean in on those to firm up and build that belief in yourself that what you have is that what you're offering is valuable. And that's what I was doing when I was going out speaking. All of those people that were coming up to me and telling me that how I had transformed their life and how I had made an impact on them, I leaned into those comments into those thanks and into those praises to lift me when I was doubting myself and when I was being critical of myself about what I was offering. Determining the price of your ebook is just another step in the process of sharing your transformation, sharing your ideas with the world. And if you're ready to go from a blank page to a published ebook, click on the link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.